I came out to do a boiler service and change the thermostat for this customer. So as you can see, that's the old thermostat. I thought a nice, easy job for me. Customer had bought this new Honeywell thermostat, so we're going to switch that over. Obviously, just use the existing wires, and it's quite a nice, easy, straightforward job. So there's the new receiver there that I've wired in. I had a few little issues, and what it was, as you can see, that little C there is not the heating coming on. That actually means the boiler is in comfort mode, which is its preheat mode. And what happened, that was coming on, which should just be heating the hot water, and the flow pipe was heating up. So this happened when I initially turned the boiler on after installing the thermostat, and I was thinking the thermostat was wired up wrong, as the flow was getting warmer, and that C, which was the comfort mode, it threw me, and I was thinking the heating was on. So that threw me completely. But what was happening, as I turned the boiler on, it was in comfort mode, and to something that I didn't know, the diverter valve was passing, and that's why the flow pipe was getting hot. So a simple job like fitting a thermostat completely threw me, and I spent probably half an hour, 40 minutes trying to work out what the hell's going on. Anyway, thermostat fitted. I realised it was all wired in correctly and working correctly, but we had a diverter valve issue. And it was only at this point, when I'd been there a while, that the customer did say, "Oh yeah, the hot water hasn't been great." And I said, "Well, yeah, you could have told me that at the beginning, because I can see now that your diverter valve is passing. When you're using the hot water, it's actually heating up your central heating a little bit as well." Right, that's the diverter valve. So that is what we need to change. So I got that ordered, and I came back another day. I isolated the flow and return, drained the boiler. What I do now, which I didn't need to do, which is, I don't know why I did it, but I end up in a minute draining the domestic hot water of the boiler, the water side. I didn't need to do that. So in a minute, when you see me do that, that wasn't needed. So the flow and return have been isolated, boiler drained, and now, as you can see, I'm draining the domestic hot water side of the boiler. That isn't required. So, but there's a little tip though, if you ever need to drain the domestic hot water, Vaillant do have a nice handy little drain valve there for you, which is good to know. Not all boilers have that. Just why the boiler's pressure's been dropped, and we've got an open end, it's a good idea to pump the expansion vessel up. So as you can see, I've pumped that up to 1 bar. Boiler stayed on 0, so we know that the diaphragm in the expansion vessel isn't passing. That's holding nice. Right, so let's get on with this diverter valve. This is only the second time I've changed a diverter valve on a Vaillant boiler. I've only been a gas engineer for 3 years, 3 and a bit now. Not done loads of repairs. The first time I did it, it was so easy. This time, a few little issues to just to point out to you, and it might help you. So, first job, we need to get this flow pipe out of the way. Disconnect the electrics. We need to get that nice big long clip out, which is holding the diverter valve onto the pump. Right, we've got to undo the flow going into the back of the boiler just to enable us to get this flow pipe. In a minute you'll see the flow pipe that's connected to the diverter valve. We need that out of the way to be able to get the diverter valve out. So this was quite a large combi boiler. This was a high kilowatt combi. Can't remember off the top of my head, but we're talking like a 40 kilowatt. So it's a bit wider than your standard Vaillant boiler. So you might notice it's a bit different there underneath. So we have to get this nut off. It's holding this section of flow pipe. It was a bit awkward and a bit of a pain, but look, as you can see, right, we've got that out of the way now. We've managed to get that out of the way of the diverter valve. Second section, which was really blinking tricky. These three nuts on this particular model are quite set back of this boiler. Could I get them off with my Phillips screwdriver? They were obviously put in the factory with maybe an impact driver. They were rock solid. So I'm putting some WD-40 on, well, some lubricant there, just to see if that would help. If I end up damaging the heads of these bolts with my screwdriver now, I'm in major trouble. I'm never going to get this diverter valve out. So I had to be so careful. I just could not get them to shift. But I really didn't want to damage the heads of them. I'd have been folding Vaillant then if I did, and I'd have had to pay for the one price fix all. So anyway, eventually, after being really careful and just trying to jolt the bolts, we got them out. I've got my magnet actually on that far one now. Once it was loose, I could actually get the magnet on the end and actually unscrew the bolt with my magnet. Obviously, once it was loose, but there's no rust on that bolt. So the lubricant that I sprayed on probably didn't do any good at all. It was just, they were just put in so tight, and like I say, in the factory by Vaillant. Right, we need to just push that little stat out of the way. Make sure that's pushed out of the way, otherwise you're going to struggle. Diverter valve out. Couple of washers on the plate that need to be removed where the diverter valve sat on. I put a couple of new washers on the plate there, used a bit of silicone grease just to hold them in place. Right, we've got the old diverter valve, the new diverter valve. Just put the new O-rings on that came with the new diverter valve. Make sure it's all the gubbins that you received with the diverter valve are used. You know, you don't want to be using the old washers. So right, we're back in place. The bolts are tightened up. With the new diverter valve, you get a nice long new bolt there, which is much easier than the little one because it's set back so far. Put that clip in. Yeah, so it's all nicely secured. It's in the side of the pump there. You can see it's pushed fully in. Right, grease up all your O-rings. Always makes it easier. Flow pipe pushed into the diverter valve. Just fully nip the three bolts now. They were tight before, but I had left a little bit of movement just to allow you to get the pipe in. And now the clip can go in. Right, I filmed the bucket there because I actually just dropped my phone in that bucket trying to film this job. So I was having a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. Right, everything tightened back up. You can see, yeah, all bolted back, all new fibre washes on them bolts under the boiler. Hose off. Um, yeah, drain valves closed. Drain valve closed on the domestic hot water, even though we didn't need to do that. And then these two bolts that I just mentioned before, new fibre washers in, all tightened back up. Yeah. Just check everything is as it should be. Electrical connection back in the diverter valve. Yeah, just make sure everything's done before you start opening up your flow and return and filling the boiler full of pressure. Yeah, but we're all looking good. We're happy. So I'm opening the cold main into the boiler. Again, that wasn't required. So we've done that. Really didn't need. I don't know why I'm looking for a leak because I've not touched anything connected with the domestic hot water or the cold main. But the flow and return I have. So we're going to open the flow and return now, which is going to fill the boiler. It's going to go into the diverter valve. So all them connections with the diverter valve going into the plate, going into the pump. Yeah, we want to make sure there's nothing leaking, and all of the connections under the boiler that I had to undo. So yeah, we're all looking good. No leaks, no drips that I can see. Right. My video finished quite abruptly then, but job's been complete and happy customer. Hot water working great again. Radiator's not warming up over the summer when you've just put in a hot tap on. Hope you enjoyed it and have a good Christmas. All the best.